I'm actually just in the middle of mixing and mastering what will probably be the last Tokyo Blade album.
Wow. Okay.
It's the final one, the
The
big one,
the final one.
the final one. Well, I say the final one. It's not over till the fat lady sings, is it? But we've got no plans to do anything else after this, really.
Wow. Well, hey, the band's almost in like a mini golden age right now with the last three records, so it would be
Yeah,
quadrilogy. What I forget the term.
yeah, quadrilogy. That works. That works.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Why the last, if you don't mind me asking?
Um, our age, I think. um, I don't know. I think that I mean, I think Alan and I will still carry on writing and recording because that's our passion. That's our real passion. Um, whether the others will want to get involved or not, they're sort of they've they're I don't know. It's always difficult. The biggest problem is that they all live away from myself. Alan lives quite close, so we're able to get in. We're able to meet up all the time. We usually meet up most weekends and write together and record and put the vocals down and stuff. But the others, they live quite a long way away. I mean, John would have to drive 4 hours to get here. Andy would have to
Oh,
drive 2.5. Steve would have to drive an hour and a half to get here. So it's just one of those things. It's just that as time's gone on and we've got older, people have moved. They've moved further away, and it's difficult because we've all got jobs. We've all got regular jobs. So the only time we really get is the weekends. So yeah, that's why really.
well, I
But
guess it does make sense. Yeah. Like I like
yeah,
I don't blame you. Like the first album came out over 40 years ago,
yeah,
So
yeah.
plenty of material and time. But yeah, it's just Fury was just fantastic. So I'm very excited about this one. And if this is the last one, like it is sad, but the band has so many records at this point. You know what I mean? There's so
Yeah,
much material for fans already.
yeah.
Um, wow. Would you like market it and put it out as like the final Tokyo Blade record, or is it just, I don't want to determine anything. We'll just see how things go.
I think we would probably not put it out as the final record. I mean, we wouldn't announce it as being the final record.
Yeah.
And perhaps I'm being a bit glib by sort of saying, "Well, I'm working on the final album." I mean, maybe that maybe that isn't the case. That there may be others. Um, I think it's probably going to be more just Alan and I that are doing any future stuff. But we're always open. And if the lads want to do it, we'll do it.
Yeah. Well, you and Alan are pretty much like a power duo, especially when he came back with
Yeah,
you know, th- the three albums he's been a part of. The last three have been fantastic.
thank you.
And Fury was it's crazy. I feel like the new wave of British heavy metal movement is in almost like a renaissance with I know Tigers just put out a great album. Raven just put out a really good one. Fury was fantastic. Did you guys go right into writing the one you're gonna put out, within the next couple years? The untitled last album. Did you start writing that right after Fury?
We were writing it before Fury was even out. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, Alan and I are very prolific um, writers because it's our passion. I mean, some of the tracks probably would have made it to Fury, but we just didn't have. There was not enough room to get them on. So, as it was, the record company said, "Okay, we're going to have to put out a double vinyl," and we said, "Well, great, yeah, do it." So but of course, double vinyl is costly. But you know, to give them their due, they did it. They put it out as a double vinyl release, and I think it's a double CD release, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know.
Wow.
I think so. I think Fury's a double CD release, because you can only get. There was just so many songs. It might have been that we just scraped. I think we just scraped under for the CD. I think a CD is about 80 minutes, but vinyl you can only get, if you push it, 21, 22, if you really push it, minutes per side. Because that's vinyl. That's just the way vinyl is. You can't push it any further, otherwise the grooves are too close together and the thing just doesn't play properly. So we had a look. I actually thought that the tracks that made it to Fury, I actually thought there was too many to get on the CD for that one, but we timed it out. And that was actually mastered by somebody else. And I spoke to the mastering engineer and I said, like, this is the time we've got. And he said, yeah, that will just go on a CD.
Wow.
We were right. So we had some songs left over anyway. And as I say, Alan and I are very, it's just what we enjoy, you know. We're very creative people and we just enjoy writing stuff. I mean, we don't get any money out of it. I mean, it's a waste of time doing it. If you were doing it for money, you wouldn't bother. No, there's no cash. There's no money in the record business anymore. But it's just something that we, you know, just enjoy doing, and we just feel that we have to do. I think it's a bit of a release, you know. You can just thrash out some stuff on the guitar and he thrashes vocals, and I think it gets some of the angst off your chest, you know.
Totally. Wow. Yeah. How do you look back at Fury? It's been like a little bit of time since it's came out. I know it got a ton of praise. How do you reflect on the album's success?
Funnily enough, I'm the worst person in the world to ask that question.
Yeah, this is.
I am honest.
Is this a bad time?
Yeah, I just don't take any notice. I really don't. I mean, Al will come in, you know, and he'll say to me, you'll see him at a weekend, and he'll say, "Oh, we got a good write up on such and such, or we got a good write up on such and such." And I go, "Oh, do we?" And I just don't take any notice of it. It's my my people used to ask me all the time, you know, do you listen to your own stuff? Never.
Wow, never.
No, by the time I finish writing it, mixing it, and mastering it, I never want to hear it again. So, you know, maybe a few years down the line, I might perhaps put something on and listen to it, but it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
Al used to Al used to call me Mr. Disposable because he would in the early days, even more so than now. Well, very much more so than now, because in those days it wasn't easy to record anything. You just had like a cassette player with a microphone, and that was the only way you could record an idea. And we'd get together for writing, and he'd say, that really good riff that you had last week. And I go, what was it? And he said, well, you know, the one that we said, yeah, that's a great opening riff. I said, no, I don't remember. And he used to call me Mr. Disposable. He actually said to me one day, he said, fuck me. He said, Mr. Disposable or what? I said, what do you mean by that? He said, the minute you've done something, you're finished with it. You're through with it. I said, yeah, that's probably pretty fair. I said, I'm always looking for something new. I'm a bit of a junkie, I think. I'm always looking for the next fix, you know. That's just my personality. I don't listen to old stuff or dwell on old stuff. The minute it's done and I've mixed it and it's been mastered, or I've mastered it and it's gone out, that's it. It's what's the next thing? Where are we now? What are we doing now? You know? And
I don't blame you. You know, if you're mixing and mastering stuff, you have to hear it a million times before it's officially out, you know?
Yeah, oh God, yeah. You know, it's over and over and over and over again, because I'm really particular. I mean, this next album, I'm actually going to master it, because the last three albums weren't mastered how I wanted. They didn't sound like I wanted them to be at all.
Hmm.
So I said to Al, I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to do the whole fucking thing myself. I said, I'm going to master it. I'm going to do the whole thing.
Wow.
I said, I want it to sound like I want it to sound, and nothing that we've done so far sounds like I want it to, because it's always gone on. The thing is, I think as well, when we did the first album that I actually got involved with recording, we used to just demo the albums. And the first album that I got involved with the recording was Unbroken.
Hmm.
And that in France, and it was a disaster. It sounded shit. And I just knew when we were in the studio over there, I just knew it was going to sound shit. And I thought, I just can't throw this away like this. So I said, look, can I take the stems? I've got a hard drive with me. Can you just chuck all the stems on here? And the engineer was like, oh, yeah, all right, okay. So I put all the stems on and took them home, and then basically salvaged the album. Well, myself
Wow.
and another engineer. And it had been, it got to the point where I said, look, your fucking demos are better than albums we've recorded. Why don't you do it? And I said, well, I haven't got the confidence. I said, to release an album, which is going to go out for worldwide release. I don't have the confidence. I said, I'm no fucking engineer. I'm not a mixing engineer. He said, no, but you are. He said, it sounds bad. So that was how I sort of got involved in it. But because I got involved in it in that way, I took a lot of advice from people that I shouldn't have. And so I'd play stuff to people and they'd say, oh, the bass isn't loud enough. And I'd think, really? Okay. And then I'd up the bass and I'd send it again. No, it still needs to go up a bit more. Snare's too quiet. And I sort of ended up with this. It's my own stupid fault. We ended up with mixes. I sat and I thought, that's not how I want it to sound. But because some pro had told me that's what you need to do, and because I didn't have the confidence, that's what I did. And then I instantly regretted it. And this one,
Wow.
I said to Ali, I said, if this is going to be the last one, or whether it's going to be the last one or not, I said, I'm not passing this to anybody else. I'm not listening to anybody else. Fuck everybody else. I'm going to do it my way. I said, and we'll see. I said, and if it turns out to be a complete disaster, I said, then, well, I'll put my hands up and say I shouldn't have done it. But I said, I really don't want to do it. So this one is going to be the first album really that I've really seen through from start to finish, without anybody's assistance or help or anybody telling me you should be doing this or you should be doing that. And I thought about it afterwards, and I thought how stupid I've been, because I thought, well, the whole point about spending the thousands of pounds I've spent on my studio here was to do my own, to do our own stuff, because we just can't afford to go into a studio anymore. That was the whole point of it. And now I'm listening to other people and having other people tell me how my music should sound. What was I thinking of? Why didn't I just stand up for myself and say, well, no, I don't think the bass should be any louder, or I think that snare sounds fine. I don't think it needs a shit ton of reverb on it or whatever,
Yeah.
But it is a steep learning curve, when you start, doing stuff, because you no matter how you feel that it sounds, when other people that have been doing it a lot longer than you tell you stuff, you tend to think, oh, perhaps it's my speakers, perhaps it's the room, perhaps he's here that I can't hear.
Start questioning yourself,
You do start questioning yourself, and that was a stupid thing for me to have done, really. But this one's going to be different. This one's going to be balls.
I'm for it, man. I'm for it. And listen, if it's the last Tokyo Blade album, that's how I want it to go out. Like you having complete control. I think that'd be very almost poetic. You gotta call it like the final duel or something too.
We were sort of
doesn't make it the last album, but still, if it is, that'd be a cool name.
I've been kicking around with some ideas, and I thought maybe, as it's 40 years since the first one, maybe just call it 40.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, just have 40 on the cover, and it's called 40. That's the album, Tokyo Blade 40 years.
Yeah, that's sweet. And listen, if it doesn't work out and it has like this almost raw sound, then I feel like that works too, because it's like the first few albums are very raw sounding.
It's funny you say that, because that's really That's really funny you should say that, because a little while ago, when the when I finally had assembled everything I needed to actually record and make a really good recording, we toyed with the idea of re-recording the first and second albums, but with today's sort of sound, because the first album was done in 4 days.
Wow.
In the studio, where the engineer was actually the T-boy. He wasn't an engineer at all, but the engineer refused to have anything to do with it other than, well, you can use the studio, because he wasn't getting paid by the record company enough. And he said, well, you can use the studio for that much money, but I'm not having anything to do with it. He said, Ralph will engineer it. And Ralph was the T-boy. So the first album was as raw as you could possibly get. I mean, and to the point where we literally started at 8 in the morning, worked through till 2 the following morning, pulled out a sleeping bag, on the studio floor, got up the next morning at 8 o'clock and started again. And we were still getting hassle from the record company towards the end of it. You need to finish, you need to finish, you need to finish. We're like, fuck me, we've done this in 4 days, with a T-boy. Thank you very much. But they weren't having. So the point is that we sort of thought it would be really nice, because there's some great songs on the first 2 albums. It'd be really nice to redo them. So we got our friend Pete, who runs the Tokyo Blade Facebook page, to put it out there and say, look, what do you guys think? The lads are thinking about re-recording for it. And everybody was dead against it. Absolutely against it. You can't touch that. You can't do that. You can't do that. We're like, why? No, they've got a rawness, they've got an energy. That's something from my youth. I used to listen to that when I was like 16 or whatever, and I don't want to hear a new version of it. And so we went, okay, well, we won't then.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really point.
I feel like that says a lot about your fans too, because it's like people are very connected with a lot of your albums.
Yeah, very much.
Like were they're against you even like remaking, not even just for the fun of it. It's not like you're replacing the old ones. Just the idea of it existing is too much.
Exactly. Just the idea, who would figure that out? I mean, we're not going to recall all the old, you're not going to have to sell your first and second albums. We're just going to do, no. And everybody was absolutely against it. The overwhelming majority said, no, don't touch it. Leave it.
Yeah. It's like we're not recalling the old stuff.
Exactly. Just going to do it, a different way. And, the song will be the same. Everything will be the same. It's just that it'll have better production and a better drum sound and better guitar sounds and better vocal sounds. No. Don't touch it. Leave it alone.
Wow.
So that was that. So we didn't do it.
Wow, that's wild. I am curious. I've always been curious about this. Where's the band's like Tokyo theme come from? There's such a fixation on Japanese culture. I'd love to know where that originated from.
That is the most common interview question I get.
I bet. I have to.
You have to, and it's absolutely fine. I don't mind at all. So it went like this. We were initially called Killer, and it was a bit
Genghis Khan also.
Genghis Khan. So Killer was a bit of a naff name. So Alan used to be in a band called Genghis Khan. So we said, well, that band split up. Why don't we just use the name? So yeah, okay, Genghis Khan's a cool name. Call ourselves Genghis Khan. So then we were called Genghis Khan. So then his previous bandmates, who weren't even in the band anymore, the band was dissolved, and they hadn't made any albums or anything. Said no, got in touch with them. No, we don't want you using that name. Don't want you using that name. So although I complained like fuck and said, look, fuck them. The band they don't own the name. The band doesn't even going anymore. No, I don't. And I was kind of one of these people. He doesn't like upsetting people, So I said, okay, right, fuck it. We'll change the name again, then something else. So I just wanted to call the band Tokyo, for no other reason other than I like the sound of the word. I've got no major interest in Japanese culture. I just like the sound of the word. So I can remember it so vividly. We were all around Alan's house and we were all sat around the table. So I said, I think we should call it Tokyo. So Al said, no, I like double-barreled names. And I said, well, no. I said, no, it's just Tokyo. It's short and sweet, you know. I said, who gives a fuck what the band's called? It's just, no. So Al said, what about Blade Runner? I said, well, we can't call it. That's a fucking movie. We can't call it Blade Runner. So he said, well, yeah, it's a movie. But I said, no, we can't call it Blade Runner. And then I said, what about Tokyo Blade? And everybody just sort of stopped talking and looked at me and said, what does that mean? I said, I haven't got a clue. I said, I've just nicked the Blade bit from him, put it with my Tokyo. And everybody went, that's a really good name. So I said, right, okay, well, should we go with that then? Yeah, let's go with that. So that was it. It was as simple as that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And here we are 40 years later.
Yeah, 40 years. Yeah. And so many people said, you know, that it's a cool name and everything else. But it was literally that's how it came about. There was no real fascination with Japan or Japanese culture. It was literally just how it happened. And then the samurai, the samurai thing came about because Brian Shepherd was the guy that used to do our artwork. And again, back in those days, there was no Photoshop, there was no computer. So it was kind of he was just a good airbrush artist. So I just said, look, we're going to do an album. It's going to be called Tokyo Blade. We're not going to give the album a name. It's just going to be called Tokyo Blade. See what you can come up with. And then he came up with the beast with the rising sun thing. And I'd already designed our actual logo. That was my design.
Wow.
And he took that, and that's what he came out with. And then the second album, Night of the Blade, same thing. He just went with the samurai idea, and sort of slashing through the flag and that whole sort of thing. And then people sort of always thought that we had this massive connection with Japan or whatever, which we never did. And then we didn't use it any Japanese sort of themed stuff ever again. That was it with that album. That was it. That's through with it. There was no rising sun flags or anything else. And it wasn't until we did Fury that quite a few interviews that I'd done for Dark Revolution, interviewers had said to me, why have you dropped the Japanese thing that you had on the first two albums? I said, I don't know, just haven't. You know, we're not that fussed about it. I think you should do something. So I had a little think, and I thought, well, we could go back to the samurai thing, but I don't want to go back that far. I could do with something being more sci-fi, something more modern, something, you know. So Andy Batchelor, who did our last three album covers actually, I called him up and I said, right, we're doing a new album. I said, it's going to be called Fury. And that came about because Al's song titles on there, a lot of them were like, a lot of his lyrics are quite angry, as I say, because it's like, I think for him, it's a way of getting stuff off his chest, you know. And our bassist, Andy Wrighton, said, he said, oh, God, listen to that, you know. And he was reading out these song titles and he said, I think you should call it Fury. He said, he sounds furious. I said, it's a good title for an album. I like Fury. So I said to Andy, I said, right, Fury, it's going to be called Fury. We want to return to the samurai thing a bit, but we want it more up to date, more sci-fi. I'll leave it with you. And he came out with a stunning artwork that he did. And we were like, fuck, that's awesome.
Maybe the band's best, honestly.
I think so. And within 2 weeks, by complete coincidence, Iron Maiden bought out.
Yeah.
Al phoned me up and he said, have you seen what fucking Maiden have done? I went, no. He said, have a look. I'll send you a link. And I looked at it and I went, oh, for fuck's sake. Because no matter how you prove that you did it before them, they're Iron Maiden and you're Tokyo Blade, they're going to, you know, people are going to say, oh, you ripped up Iron Maiden. And I said, but it's too late to fucking change it now. I said, and Andy's done all that work. I said, bollocks. If people want to say we ripped up Iron Maiden, fuck them. We just didn't. And that was that. So that was how the whole came about. So it was quite funny.
Wow.
So yeah,
Jesus.
story of it. Yeah, I know. You couldn't write it. You could not make it up. Unbelievable.
That's crazy. And of course, when I saw them announce that, I thought of Tokyo Blade instantly. I'm like, oh my God. That's
We've
great.
always had this. They've always. It's a funny thing that we've had with Maiden. They've always been. They've always been sort of. I don't know what word to use really. They've always been hovering there to fuck us up in some way or another. John and as you probably know, John was in Paul Di'Anno's band before he joined Tokyo Blade, and John and Andy come from the same area of London as Maiden, so they kind of knew them, not really as friends, but it's sort of a nod to in the local pubs, you know. And I remember it it all started when we changed our name to Genghis Khan. And we went to play in this pub in London, which was the Ruskin Arms, which was where Maiden actually started. And it was one of John's locals. It was just happened to be one of his locals. And just hundreds of people turned up because Maiden used to go out under the name of Genghis Khan when they were doing pubs still.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Expected to see Iron Maiden, and there was Tokyo Blade, and of course we were called Genghis Khan. So that was the first thing. Then I remember Andy Wrighton's got a real bee in his bonnet about him because he went back in the early days. He went up the King's Road in London, which is where it used to be the place where you bought all your kind of stage clothes, and it was where all the sort of, you know, those type of shops were, you know. And he wanted to buy some stripy trousers. And he went into the shop, and the bloke said, oh, he said, you wouldn't believe it. He said, that bloke from Iron Maiden, he said, that Harris, he said, he's been in, he's just bought all 15 pairs.
It never ends.
And Andy sort of said, that fucking bloke, he said, he beats me. He said, every fucking time he beats me to whatever it is. And it's been like that, really, all the time. And we've always had the Iron Maiden comparison because, well, we were influenced by the same bands as they were. Thin Lizzy for the dual guitars. That's where my influences came from. UFO was one of my favourite bands. Of course, Maiden. I mean, they were in the early days. They were totally like UFO. I mean, Steve Harris based everything that he on Pete Way. You know. So really, that's sort of where it came from, and we just sort of just brushed it off and said, well, look, if you think we sound like Maiden, then you do, and there's nothing we can do about it because that's what we sound like. We've got two guitars, we like playing guitar harmonies together. Make of it what you will, you know. So that was that.
Wow. You were talking about one of those early shows as Genghis Khan. Was that the first show you did as like a band, as like the Tokyo Blade original lineup? You remember that first show?
I don't think it was I honestly don't remember the first show that we did.
Yeah, I'm going way back here.
It would probably have been in Salisbury. The first show that we did probably would have been in Salisbury, which is where we're from.
Yeah.
So it would probably have been there. I think it definitely would have been, because when we did the Ruskin, that would have been when John came into the band, and John didn't come into the band. We'd been going for a couple of years before John joined. So, and John knew the guy that ran the Ruskin because it was one of his locals. And so, you know, that's how that all sort of came about, really.
Wow. Do you remember how you got signed to Powerstation Records?
We actually got signed at that gig at the Ruskin Arms.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we actually got signed. We did the usual thing of, well, the full story is that
yeah, keep going, I guess.
yeah, is the obviously it was all pre-internet, and you had radio stations. Now the big radio station in England was and still is BBC Radio 1, and they've always been sniffy about playing rock music, but and metal music, but they had a guy called Tommy Vance, who used to do a thing called the Friday Rock Show. It was just an hour long, and it was all really cool bands, all the sort of stuff that, you know, we dig. and we'd self-financed a single, a double single actually. It was called Double Dealing, and on that single was the tracks If Heaven Is Hell, Death on Main Street, Midnight Rendezvous, and Mean Streak. And our manager at the time said, there's a place not far from where I live called Longley, and it's a safari park. It's like a huge, it's owned by the Earl of Bath. It's massive, great grounds, and he's got lions and tigers and all sorts in it. And they were opening up a nightclub, and they were going to have this thing where every Friday night they were going to host rock nights. And the guy they got to open it was Tommy Vance. So Ian called me up and he said, right, tonight we're going to Oscars in Longley. I said, what's Oscars in Longley? Well, it's a new club they've opened up. Why are we going there? And he said, well, because it's rock night. He said, and it's the first one, and it's been the thing's being opened by Tommy Vance. So I said, okay, so still why are we going there? He said, well, we're going to take the single and we'll give it to Tommy Vance and ask him if he'll play it on BBC Radio 1. And we were like, no, we'll never, not a chance. We won't get away with that. Come on, we're going up there. So we went up there, and Tommy was a fantastic guy, really, really lovely guy. But he was, he was spinning records, so he was DJing, and again, it was before CDs, so it was all records, and he was spinning records, and he was chain smoking away. And because I'm the founder member of Blade, and also because I'm the one with all the mouths, they've always got me to do all the donkey work. So Ian said, go on, take it up to him. And I felt like a right prick, and I wondered how I copy of this thing. And I said, Tommy, would you play that? And he just, like, he's smoking away, and he just took it, went, and he just put it aside. He went, yeah, I'll have a listen to it. And I didn't want to go. So I said, will you play it? And he just looked at me and he said, if I like it, I'll play it. I thought, right, that means fuck off. I said, okay, right, I'll go then. So then the following week, Ian phoned up, and you couldn't get to talk to Tommy, but you could get to talk to his producer. So Ian spoke to his producer, and he said to her, oh, our Tokyo Blade on the, no, I think we were Genghis Khan then. Our Genghis Khan on the bill to be played on the show tonight. So she said, hang on, I'll have a look. So she had a look. She said, no. So we were like, oh, he didn't like it. Oh, fuck. And then the following week, Ian phoned me up and he said, guess what? Oh, what? He said, put on the rock show tonight. I said, we on it? He went, yeah. I said, oh, what track are they playing? He said, I don't know. He said, she wouldn't say. He said, but we are on the playlist. I said, oh, awesome. And he played all 4 tracks.
Wow.
On BBC Radio 1, the Friday Rock Show, he played all tracks. I recorded it on a cassette tape, because I was, this is it, we're actually on Radio 1. This is a national radio station. We're on it, and he played all 4 tracks. Not only did he play all 4 tracks, but we actually got paid. We actually got paid because they played the tracks. Wow. And then he played them again about a couple of months later. And it eventually led to us doing, they used to do a thing called In Session. So the idea was you would go up to the BBC studios, and you would just, they had like, just so much money. I mean, they had like about 8, this block of 8 recording studios, and you just went in and you literally played live, and they recorded you, and then they put it out on the radio as In Session. And it was about 5 tracks, and there was loads of bands that did it. Accept did it, we did it. Oh, loads of bands did it. So eventually we ended up doing that, and they repeated that session as well, I remember. So we always be eternally grateful. Point is that the record company, Powerstation, listened to that and decided to sign us. So that was that. And then they basically ripped us off and took all our money.
Wow.
So yeah, so all of those albums that we sold in the early days, we didn't get a penny. Didn't get a bean.
Wow. None of these bands got a break, I feel. All these bands with their first labels and albums just got completely just
Yeah, always fun.
Wow.
Yeah,
What do
always
you
fun.
remember about the writing and recording process of the debut record? Was that you?
Um,
How many days did you say?
well, we had 4 days to record it in a really shitty studio in the middle of London called Wickham Studios.
God.
And as I say, it was the T-Boy. And we used to demo songs back then with Al had an old like an old ghetto blaster, an old, one of those things that's got 2 speakers on it and a cassette deck in the middle and a radio on
Yeah.
the top, which had a condenser mic built into it. But it was old and it was fucked, and we've always been poor. So he used to have to hold the mains lead at a certain angle to get it to work. And then he'd say, right, you got any ideas? And I'd say, oh yeah, I've got some riffs and stuff. Okay, so he'd like hold this hold the mains lead at a certain angle. I'd play the riff, he'd record it, and then I'd like lay down a bunch of riffs and some chords and stuff. No drum machine, obviously, no anything, just literally just guitar. And then he'd go away with that and then come back and say, right, I think if we put this bit at the front and then we'll have that bit as the verse and then that bit as the bridge and then that bit can be the chorus. And that's kind of how we used to do it.
Wow. Okay.
And then just sort of
Very
take it to the,
traditional.
yeah, it was just literally, it was sort of like a sketchbook, a far cry from what we do now, you know.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
literally like that, it was literally done like that. And then we'd take to the rest of the guys and say, look, we got this idea. And Steve would say, okay, well, I could do this on the drums on this bit, and you know, and the guys would just throw their bits in, and that's how it's done, really.
Wow, interesting. So we talked about a lot of the older stuff. We talked about, you know, the current Fury being the second to last Tokyo Blade record. Now I'm just curious, what is your opinion on the band from 85 to like 2009? It's a very messy, kind of weird era for
Oh
the band.
God, that was a disaster. The whole thing was a disaster.
Yeah.
Um, the long story short, when we did it's it's painful. We did, we did the third album, which was Black Hearts and Faded Spades.
Uh-huh.
Well, no, let me no, I've got to go back a little bit before that. We did the first album, uh, as you know, and that was done in 4 days in a shit studio. So they wanted a second album. So we kicked off about that and said, well, we're not doing another album in 4 days. You can fuck off. You know, if we can't have a proper studio. Yeah, no, we've got your proper studio and you can have 2 weeks on this one. Oh God, thank you, master. So to do that with Roy Neve, whose sort of claim to fame was he'd done some demos for Def Leppard. So we went up there. That was Yorkshire, which is quite a way away from where we are. That's north of England. So we went up there, did the album, and got it all finished. Obviously, Al was the singer. Everything was done, all ready to go. Then we had a couple of big festivals that we booked. One was the Aardschok Festival in Holland with Venom and Metallica. And we were third on the bill. I think it was Venom headline, then it was Metallica, then it was us third on the bill. And we knew Metallica anyway from way back because when they used to come to England, they used to stay at Andy's, the bass player Andy. They used to stay at his house. Well, Lars and James did. The other two didn't normally come over, but Lars and James used to come to England quite a lot, and they would stay with Andy's place. So Andy got to know them. And you know, when we were up there, I was up in London most of the time anyway. Although I wasn't living there, I'd stay with John, and we'd go out drinking, and we'd be going out, and Andy'd say, "Oh, Lars and James are done. Should we go out for a drink?" Yeah, okay. And we'd just go out with them for a drink. I didn't really get to talk to them that much. I didn't really know them that well. Andy knew them a lot better. So we're on that festival with them, and then we had a follow-up festival, and I can't think who was on that, but the record company came to it. And at that time, Al, he used to have a problem with confidence. He had a real confidence problem, and you know, it was just not. He just didn't do well on that particular gig. It just didn't go very well. So they took John and I to one side and said, "Your singer's got to go." And we were like, "No, he's got to go. Otherwise, we're pulling the plug. You know, you're never going to do anything.
Wow.
You need to get another singer." And we were like, we were young, naive, and I was really unhappy about that because I was a mate, you know. So I was really unhappy about that. But you're young, you're naive, you've just got signed to a label, you've sort of, that should have been your dream. And you tend to think they know what they're talking about. So you go, well, okay then. So, but we did say to them to start off with, we said, look, you know, let us talk to Al, you know, we're going to, and then, you know, we're going to fight his corner. And Al understandably reacted quite badly to it and said, oh no, fuck him, you know, I'm out. So that was that. Well, the whole reason that the record company had a mate who was a singer and they wanted him in the band. That was, didn't know that at the time. So this guy came down, his mate of theirs came down. We didn't know he was a mate of theirs at that time. Came down all the way from Yorkshire down to London. We all met up at John's house. And then he said, I'm just going out to get some fags. And he went out and never came back. And he just went home. So we were now singer, and their mate just bottled it and just didn't want to do it. Just blew us out.
Oh my God.
So then we'd had the opportunity of our first tour with a band called Mama's Ball, Irish band. And it was quite a big European tour. It was a big deal for us. And we didn't have a singer. So we just advertised. Just said, right, we need a singer. Just advertised. The only demo tape that came back was the only one that was half reasonable, was one that was submitted by a guy called Vic Wright. So and this does sound unbelievable. And every time I tell this story, I still, even myself, even though it happened to me, I still think how absolutely fucking bizarre this is. But I think the only way I can explain it is it's the British way, is that you just keep fucking going. Whatever happens, you just keep going. You know, whatever life flings at you, you just keep going. You find a way around it. You adapt, you improvise, you just keep going. You fight on. And that seems to be the British way, I think. He turned up the night that we were leaving for this tour, having never sung any of our songs before. And we didn't want to pull the tour. We had no choice. So he turned up at my place at about 10 o'clock by the time he got down from Yorkshire on the train. I gave him a Walkman, a Sony Walkman, with the songs on it and the lyrics, which I'd written out on paper, just handwritten out on paper. And I said, you've got till tomorrow night to learn that lot, because tomorrow night's our first gig just outside Paris. And he did it. I mean, he had lyrics taped all over the stage, but he did it. And the tour was an absolute stunning success. And Vic was a great frontman. I had never ever thought he was a great singer. He was a fantastic frontman. So the next thing was the record company said, right, we need to take Al's vocals off the record and put Vic's on there.
Wow.
I was like, we can't do that. They're Al's songs. Yeah, we can. And that's what happened. Al's vocals were taken off the album. Hence the reason that there's an album called Night of the Blade the Night Before, which features Al's original vocals, and then Night of the Blade, which most people know of, which has got Vic's vocals on it. But they weren't Vic's songs. Sung by Vic.
I did not know that. Jeez.
How about that for a bizarre story? So there you go. That's what happened.
Wow.
Then we realized we weren't getting any money from them. So our manager said, look, fuck them, we'll finance our own album. And, you know, we'll do it ourselves. So what happened there was we did finance our own album and recorded it, which was Black Hearts and Jaded Spades. recorded that, and then the record company took out an injunction on us. So we took out a counter injunction. They took out another injunction. We took out a counter injunction. This is all obviously costing a lot of money.
Yeah.
And what we didn't realise was we were being stitched up by not only them, but our solicitor. The two solicitors had got together and
God,
they were just bleeding us for money. So they took every penny that we had. And then so we had this meeting with the record company, because we'd sort of called their bluff, because we kept on taking counter injunctions out, and they thought, oh, they got to run out of money soon. We haven't given them any money, but it was our manager that was putting in his own money.
Wow.
So we big high-powered meeting in London at their solicitor's place, and they agreed. The band was in complete disarray by then, because the record company, being the fucking bastards that they were, had also spread it around that I'd had the money. So when the lad going, where's the money? They're going, Andy's got it. I never had it. I fucking definitely didn't have it. So, and it wasn't until we got to the solicitors and they agreed. But by that time, I was very upset, because they'd chosen to believe the record company over me. So as far as I was concerned, I didn't want anything to do with them. I just thought, so I'm here for my money. So they agreed that they were going to pay me, I think it was about 38,000 quid, which back then was a lot of money. I mean, it's still a lot of money now, but back then that was you could buy a house with that outright. You know, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So the deal was, you hand over the master tapes for the record and the artwork and everything else that you've done. We're going to put it out and we'll give you your money. So I said, yeah. So we did.
Jesus.
They never gave us the money. So
oh my God. Really?
So yeah, no, didn't get it. So we went back to the solicitor, and the solicitor said, oh, we've got them now. He said, we'll get them in high court now. He said, just give me another $3,000. Well, we didn't have $3,000. So it's kind of, sorry, chaps. So we just got stitched, just got totally fucking stitched.
Wow.
Absolutely stitched up. So after that, we did then Vic left without telling us, and we were supposed to be on tour with Blue Oyster Cult. So we found a stand-in singer to do that tour. The situation with the band by then had become untenable, really. I'd just finished with it all, just sick of them. So we did the tour, came back from there. Band, everybody went their separate ways. Ian suggested that I keep going. This was my manager. So I assembled some pretty bad musicians, and we did Ain't Misbehaving. That was a terrible album and didn't go down well at all. So, but I was contracted to the record company to do 2 albums. So they said, well, look, you're under contract to do, and there's a load of shit that happened in between this. I mean, I got arrested in Germany, and just fucking anyway. They said, you're contracted to do another album. So I said, okay, right, I'll do one more album and then that's it. I said, because I know you're not going to pay me. So I said, I want my money up front. I said, and then you do what you want. So they found some German musicians, which I'd never met before, never spoken to before. Didn't know they were German. I didn't know them from Adam. Turned up at a studio, did the album, and then that was that. Then it all just fell to bits, and that was it. I just gave up on it all. And then it was about 1995-ish. Al got in touch with me, because we'd always stayed, in touch because we were mates, and got in touch with me and said, do you fancy putting a band together? So we put a band together called Mr. Ice, did one album with that band. Then he suggested doing a new Tokyo Blade album, which was Burning Down Paradise. But the only original members were Alan, myself, and John. We had a different bass player and drummer. So we did that album. We had shit management. It was the wrong time to be releasing metal albums anyway. So that album just didn't do it. And that was it. That was the end of it. It was all finished, all over and done with. And it wasn't until much later on that we ended up getting back together again as the original lineup. So, which is unusual, because, you look at bands like the Tigers, there's only one original member in there.
Yeah.
And only the rhythm guitarist in the band anyway. So it's quite unusual for a band of our age to have the five original members in the band. I mean, that's quite unusual.
Yeah, and you went through so much bullshit too, and to still have.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Tons
Wow. That's it. The fact that you guys are, even putting together an album right now is a miracle.
Really, it is.
Yeah.
It is a miracle. Yeah, it's a funny it's funny how it's worked out. But then I suppose, life's like that, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah.
Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. And that's the truest thing ever said. You don't plan for things to happen. They just happen. And then all of a sudden you're back into it, and you're doing things that you think, God, I didn't think I would ever be doing this at my age, and you're doing stuff that you're doing. And
Wow.
this year alone, we could have been doing a festival in Mexico, one in Sweden, one in Florida, and just don't want to do it anymore. Just fed up with it.
Yeah, you went through so much just shit in this industry, like I really can't blame you, like even when we started and you're like, last album, I'm done. I'm like, all right, but I fully understand, because like the fact that you guys are still together, it's awesome, and as a fan, love it. But like when you throw the towel and it's like, I understand.
Yeah, and I think
I really do.
And I also think that when you get to a certain, at some point you've got to draw a line under things. You've got to say, okay, that's enough. And the amount of people that have sort of said to me, they've spoken to me about it and said, what do you mean you're too old for it? Look at the Rolling Stones, they're 70. I go, yeah, the Rolling Stones don't get up at fucking 2:00 in the morning, drive to Heathrow Airport, get on some poxy flight, arrive at the other end to be ushered straight onto a stage and then told, well, you're 4 hours away from your hotel room, so you're not going to get much sleep. And by the way, your flight back tomorrow is 5:00 in the morning. That doesn't happen with the Rolling Stones. When you're my age, I'm 62 now. I don't want to do that anymore. And this was exactly what I told my agent. And the other thing is that because idiots here voted for Brexit and took us out of the European Union, playing in Europe now is really difficult. It's really hard to do. It's not the same as it was a couple of years ago. Travel in general isn't the same as it was a couple of years ago, and my job, I actually work in the travel industry now. And I've seen it firsthand, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. Cancelled flights, lost baggage. I mean, it's just every day. Just it's just gone to shit. It's just turned to shit. After Brexit, all the people that were doing jobs like baggage handling were Eastern European. Well, our government said, right, we're out of Europe now. You'll all have to fuck off back home. Well, now we've got nobody to do jobs. So I think we're probably the only country in history to self-impose sanctions on ourselves.
God.
Part of the biggest market in the world is the European market, and we've just pulled out of it. And the reason that we pulled out of it was because people were lied to. The government just told them blatant lies about what was going to happen and how we're all heading for sunlit uplands and it's all going to be wonderful. Well, it clearly isn't. Food prices have gone through the roof. There's so many checks now between, goods used to be able to move freely between the UK and Europe. That was part of being in the Union. And the other thing, part of being in the Union, which particularly applies to us, is you could go to France or Germany or Spain or wherever the fuck you wanted to. It's literally just a hop across the water. It's a 20 mile, I think the English Channel's like 24 miles wide or something. Hop across the channel, you go under the channel on the Channel Tunnel. So you just get on the train and the other side, you just drive straight off the train and you're in France. And you could just walk into any hospital there and say, right, my leg's dropped off, I need it sorted out. And they do it. Not now. Not now. It's you're not part of the union. So where's your credit card? Credit card? And
What
when
a shame.
really bad. And when you get to a certain age, you think, do I want to be running those risks? Because I haven't got health insurance and I can't afford health insurance. Do I really want to be running the risk of being taken ill somewhere where I can't even afford to pay for it? No, I don't. So there's definitely a point where you have to say it's time to draw a line under it, and that's the point we got to. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, and who knows? Who knows what will happen in the future? We don't know. Which is why I was probably being a bit glib when I said the last album, but and it probably won't be. There probably will be other stuff. I mean, Alan and I will certainly keep on recording, whether that comes out as Tokyo Blade or whatever.
Many genres out there to explore, you know.
Yeah, there are. I mean, we've got a stack of. I mean, we have got a stack of stuff that wouldn't ever make it onto a Blade album because it's just not Blade. It's just not suitable for Blade. I mean, it's not country and western or blues or anything like that. It's not a billion miles away, but it's just stuff that isn't Blade. And we've always sort of spoken about doing something with that. Maybe we should release that, and then. But I think we would still do if Alan and I did another album, it would still be in the style of Blade. That's our shtick. That's what we write. So. Yeah, I wouldn't say never. I wouldn't even say no to a gig. If somebody came up with the right offer and it was something that we really wanted to do, we'd do it. We'd probably do it. But we'll have to see what happens a bit further down the line, especially with Brexit, and see if the UK is actually ever gonna rejoin, because it was the stupidest thing that this country's ever done.
What a shame.
It is. It really is. It's just completely based on lies. They just lied and lied and lied and lied. They obviously had an ulterior motive for pulling us out of Europe. And now it's the people down the bottom that are suffering. The people up the top have made a fortune out of it. But the people down the bottom are, working class people are suffering because, food prices have gone through the roof. You can't get this anymore. You can't get that. There's hold-ups all the time. You order something from Europe and now it's held up. It's just crazy. And we had completely open borders. Completely. There was no restrictions. You could drive across to France and drive around the whole of Europe without any restriction. You could buy, sell, do what you wanted. There was no restriction at all. And now stuck with this. Fucking crazy. Absolutely crazy.
A shame and awful. Really terrible. And it kind of the cherry on top with everything you guys are dealing with or have dealt with. Wow. So this new record, is there a time frame sometime next year, do you think? The year after, 2024, are we looking at?
Yeah, 2024. I'm looking to try and get it. I'd like to get it wrapped up by Christmas, if possible, this Christmas. Because basically, I'm mixing it now as we speak. It's actually on the screen now, so I'm actually mixing it as we speak. But it's me that's done everything on there instrumentally. So I'm waiting for the other guys to get here so John can put his guitar parts on, Steve needs to put his drum parts on, and Andy needs to put his bass parts on. Because at the moment, everything's just been done by me just to get the thing, past the post so that Alan and I can sit and listen to them and say, that would make the album, that will make the album, that one won't, that one won't, that will. So we've got a very solid idea of, what's going where.
Totally. And I cannot wait to hear it when it's officially released. What's the best way for fans to just keep in touch with Tokyo Blade and everything the band has to announce?
Really, it's the Tokyo Blade Facebook page, because Peak updated. We've got the website, which I run the website, and I'm useless. I don't think I've even been on the website for about 8 and I haven't really got anything much to put up there. So, it's a quiet news day. There's not much I can say other than, hello, everybody, still alive.
That's my job, just to check in, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's people like you that keep the name afloat, and obviously Pete with the work that he does on the Facebook page, and it's people like that that actually keep the band's name, afloat and keep it going. I still get a lot of fan mail. A lot of stuff does come through the website, and a lot of people are, a lot of people. We're blessed. We've got some really loyal fans all over the world. We get email from, I had one the other day from the Amazon fucking jungle. I mean, how bizarre is that?
Wow.
So we get email from all over the place. Of course, we did the Brazilian, the South American tour, so we get, we still get sort of mail from fans there that we met when we were over there and stuff. So we're very lucky. We're very blessed, but it's just that it's got to that point where you've got to say, okay, that's kind of probably enough though.
Yeah. If you officially were like, I'm gonna throw in the towel, would you want to end with like a live album? I know a lot of bands do that, or it's like even Sabbath, they're like, let's just end it with a live album. Or would you not even bother?
I don't know whether we would. I don't know whether we would bother to finish with a live album. I think we would just finish with hopefully a stonking album, an album that's really good. And just finish it with that. Every album that we've done in the past sort of 10 years, I think we've upped the bar on every one, and I think this one will even surpass Fury in terms of songs and production and stuff. I think this is going to be a great album.
That's so exciting to hear, because you guys have one of the best new wave albums out. And it's crazy with everything you guys went through, that even Tigers are putting out stuff, even Maiden. but you guys have such a strong record, so that's very exciting as a fan to hear that for the next release. But this has been awesome, man. Andy, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to me. Let me know, give me a link to wherever you publish it or whatever, because I'd like to have a listen back to it. And I know that the other guys would. So let me know where this is appearing, and I'll look forward to hearing it.
100%, man. This has been an honor. I'm Brandon Battick, and this is Disturbing the Priest.